Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Sodananda Yasodanandana Brajadana Yasodananda Brajadana Jamunatira Vanachari Natira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Natira Yamunatira Vanachari Natira Yamunatira Vanachari Natira Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. John Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Prabhu Jakacharya, Asaturs of the Shishimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anantakota Vaishnavani Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Shri Maya Purnavidam Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gau Premanandi. All glory is some devotees, all glory is some devotees, all glory is some devotees, all glory is Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13, Text number 2. Yasyam ime san naradeva dasyavaha sartang vilumpanti kunayakang balat gamayavo yatra haranti sartikang pramatam avishya yatoranam nivrakaha yasyam imetan naradeva dasyavaha Sartang vilam panti gupta yakang balat gamayavo yatra haranti sartikang brahmatham avishya yatorvanam vikaha yasyami mesam naradeva dasyavaha Sartang vilam panti kanhaya kang balat gamayavo yatra haranti sartikang pramatham avisya yatoranam vikaha yasyami mesang naradeva dasyavaha Sartang vilam panti kunayakam balat gamayavo yatra haranti sartikang brahmatam avishya yatoranam vikaha Anybody on Zoom would like to chant?
Yasyami me shana naradeva dasyavaha satham vilumpanti kunaya kambalat gomayavo yatra haranti sarthikam pramattama vishayathoranam rukaha.
Yasyam, in which, in the forest of material existence, ime, these, sat, 6, Naradeva, O king, Dasyavaha, the plunderers, Sa'artam, the conditioned souls, who are interested in false ideas, Vilampanti, plunder, regularly taking away all the possessions, Kunayakam, who are always misguided by so-called gurus or spiritual masters, Balat, by force, Gamayavaha, exactly like foxes, Yatra, in which forest, Haranti, they take away, Sa'artikam, the conditioned soul, who is seeking material profits to maintain the body and soul, Pramatam, who is a crazy man, not knowing his self-interest, Havisya, entering the heart, Yata, just as, Yurnam, nicely protected lambs, Vrikaha, the tigers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. O King Rahugana, in this forest of material existence, there are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money, and it is taken away by these plunderers, like tigers, jackals, and other ferocious animals in a forest that are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of its protector. The wife and children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. Purport. In the forest there are many plunderers, dacoits, jackals, and tigers. The jackals are compared to one's wife and children. In the dead of night, jackals cry very loudly, and similarly one's wife and children in this material world also cry like jackals. The children say, "Father, this is wanted. Give me this. I am your dear son. Or the wife says, I am your dear wife. Please give me this. This is now needed. In this way one is plundered by the thieves in the forest. Not knowing the aim of human life, one is constantly being misguided. The aim of life is Vishnu. Nate vadhu svartha gating hi Vishnu. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Everyone works very hard to earn money, but no one knows that his real self-interest is in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead of spending money for advancing the Krishna consciousness movement, one spends his hard-earned money on clubs, brothels, liquor, slaughterhouses, and so forth. Due to sinful activities, one becomes implicated in the process of transmigration and thus has to accept one body after another. Being thus absorbed in a distressed condition, one never attains happiness. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshum Litam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Kotiva Chalang Pangun Lang Hayate Garim Nyat Kripa Taraham Vande Shikarum Dinataranam Nivancha Kalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. In the Srimad Bhagavatam we hear of the amazing story of one great demon, Hiranyakasipu, who had a great devotee son. And as what happens in family life, the father sends the child to school and learns different aspects of life. So after Prahlad had done some studying, father asked him to come and asked him, so what did you learn in school, my dear Prahlad? And he said, Titsara manye suryavarya dehinam sara samudvina dhyama sagrahat hit vatma patam griham andakupam vanam gatoyat harim ashriyeta. My dear father, best of the demons, he liked that. Best of the demons. The best thing I've learned is that anyone that has accepted a temporary material body and temporary household life is embarrassed by many anxieties due to having fallen into a dark well where there's no water, but there's only suffering. The best thing that such a person can do is go to the forest and take shelter of Krishna. Specifically, one should go to the forest of Vrindavan. So this is his answer to Hiranyakasipu. He didn't appreciate that. So here Prahlad Maharaj is saying there's another forest. See, this verse is explaining the forest of material enjoyment. But there's a forest of spiritual enjoyment, and that's Vrindavan. That's where people go to hear about Krishna and remember the pastimes of Krishna. So this is a forest of spiritual enjoyment, where Krishna performed his wonderful pastimes. I was just reading last night in the Krishna book how Krishna and Balaram, they're playing there with their cowherd friends, and one demon came disguised. He looked like a cowherd boy. So Krishna thought, and he was thinking, okay, how to take care of this demon here? So I guess they played some wrestling, some competition, and whoever won would be carried by whoever would lose. So Balaram was fighting against this demon. What was his name? Pralambasura. So he won. Balaram's strong. So he had to be carried by Pralambasura. Krishna lost. So he had to carry Sridham. Who was Sridham? Who knows who Sridham was? He was the brother of Radharani. So Krishna had to carry Sridham. Sometimes Krishna loses. So Balaram is being carried by this demon. He takes him off. He's gonna try to kill Balaram. So he takes off. He becomes a big demon. And what does Balaram do? He gives him a hit. But before that, he says, "How was this carrier changed in so many ways?" And then he gave him a hit on the head and finished him. So shortly after that, Krishna and his friends there in the forest there with the cows, and a fire takes place. Big fire. Now the cows had kind of wandered away, attracted to new grass, so the cows weren't right there with the cowherd boys. But there was this fire. And the cows started mooing. And Krishna started calling out to the cows by their names. You know, Krishna knew all their names, and then they felt encouraged. All right, Krishna's going to save us. So it was a big fire. And cowherd boys are worried, and the cows, and what does Krishna do? Just sucks up the fire. It's a good way to put out a fire, huh? No need of a fire department in Vrindavan. In Krishna's presence, he just inhales the fire. No problem, no worries. So this is the forest of spiritual enjoyment. Now here in this verse, it said that there's 6 plunderers, and it's mentioned here, the wife and children. I remember I was distributing books over in Seaport Village, and I was talking to a husband and wife. I asked for a donation, and the man said, you know, I can give you a donation, but I can't give you very much. Wives are very expensive. She was standing right there, and she looked at me. She said, "Yeah, wives are very expensive." They were kind of joking. It wasn't as serious. They were just joking. But yeah, children, wives, very expensive. They say to raise a child, if you're just in a regular economy position, it costs like $100,000. School, and raising them, food, clothes, everything. You just put everything together. It's more now, inflation now. Very expensive. Yeah. But also there's these 6 plunderers that are not mentioned here: lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. So these are the main plunderers. Lust, especially tasma tong induyanyada niyamya bharatarshava. Therefore, from the very beginning, one should curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So this is what lust does. It plunders one of knowledge. If one is plundered with knowledge, what is one left with? Ignorance. And if one is taken away of one's self-realization, what is one left with? Bodily conception of life. So one is plundered by this. This lust is, as Prabhupada said, our old enemy. Mr. Lust, plunders us of so many wonderful qualities, actually. So this is actually the main enemy of the soul. Is this great enemy, lust. Evam bure parang budva samsambhyatmanam atmana. Krishna says, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, one should steady oneself by carefully engaging in Krishna consciousness and slay this formidable enemy known as lust. So we have to be very careful in this forest of material enjoyment. Just like here, we're in Pacific Beach. This is a major forest of material enjoyment, where people try their best to enjoy this world. Oh, Davida just let us know that now it's up to $230,000 to raise a child in the present age. Very expensive. That's just one child. I met one guy the other day, he had 7 children. I thought that didn't happen anymore. I grew up with 6 siblings. We had 7 in our family. And that was very common back in the baby boomers time. But now it's like 1 or 2, 3 like max, So this lust is the main enemy of the soul, and it's actually what was there originally was the love. This is just a perverted reflection of our love for Krishna, this lust. So what's the opposite of this of lust? It's love. Love and kindness and friendliness. So by this practice of Krishna consciousness, we become free of this plunderer, this main plunderer. So lust, anger is another plunderer. So what is, if one is angry, then one loses one's serenity. He loses his peace. One is plundered of peace and tranquility. So how do you get free of anger? One has to learn tolerance in the face of reversals. In the material world, there's many reversals that we experience. So we have to learn tolerance. Tanada peace, uniche na, tarora peace, hisna, manina, kirtaniya, sadahari. Lord Chaitanya said that one should think oneself lower than the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others without desiring respect for oneself. In such a state of mind, we chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So this is so important that we control anger. Sometimes someone might say something to us, we want to say something back, but no. Better control. Like there was one devotee, he was in India, and he was preaching, and this one atheist came and was challenging him, a little critical, a little blasphemous, and the devotee became upset. And the man said, well, what kind of a sadhu are you? You're getting upset. And the devotee said, oh, no, I'm controlling myself. Previously, I would have you on the ground beating you right now. But I've controlled myself. So this is a result of practicing Krishna consciousness. You're lucky. So yeah, one learns to control the mind, to control the senses, and be tolerant. Yeah. So lust, anger, greed. Greed is another plunderer. And what does greed take away? Honesty. Honesty. As it is said that there's plenty enough for everyone's needs, but not enough for everyone's greed. So unfortunately, there's a lot of greedy people in this world that have billions of dollars, and they just like to know it's sitting there, and they're enjoying having all this wealth in the bank. It could be helping so many people. But greed, and they want more. There's never enough. They want more and more. They become a millionaire. Now I want to have $10 million. Then I want to have $100 million. I want to be a billionaire. Never satisfied. Lust is never satisfied. So greed. But we also want to be greedy for Krishna. This is good greed. This is good greed. Ata Shri Krishna namadi nabhavad-grayam indriyaya sevan mukhe jivada swayameva spratita. That one cannot understand Krishna with one's blunt material senses, but when Krishna becomes pleased with a devotee by his service, then he reveals himself. So what do we have to pay to get that? We have to have intense desire, lolium, intense desire. It's even said greed. You're greedy to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. Lolium. And there's also positive anger. Like Hanuman. Hanuman was so angry, but that was completely spiritual, completely pure anger, because Sita had been offended, had been kidnapped, the consort of Ram. So he was so angry. He was so angry he practically destroyed Lanka. In complete humility. So this is pure anger. And if someone blasphemes Krishna or Prabhupada, we become angry. Yeah. And if one doesn't, then it's not good. Actually, one should run away if we hear some blasphemy. What is it? There's three things you should do. Either take your life, cut out the person's tongue. Imagine that. I guess it must have happened, someone, that's the stricture, right? or just run away. So, just what we do in this age, we run away. And not casually, run away. Just run away quickly, get away from the demon. Because we want to keep our spiritual life. And if you don't, it's described that you lose your spiritual merits. Yeah. So important. And then envy. Envy is a major plunderer. Envy is, actually this is why we're here in this world. We became envious of Krishna. We saw Krishna, the enjoyer, and having such a great time and the center of everything, and we wanted to be the center. We want to be the enjoyer, the proprietor. And here we all are, bad imitations of Krishna. So what does it take away? It takes away integrity. Envy takes away integrity. It takes away love. We all have this love for Krishna. Actually, it's here now, but it's covered. So we're, by this process of Krishna consciousness, we're trying to uncover this love. We're trying to remove this envy. I was just listening to a lecture. Prabhupada said envy means that someone has something that you want and you try to take it away. And he gave the example of the Pandavas. That Yudhisthira, he was the elder of all the cousins. So he deserved to be the king. But Duryodhana thought, no, why should he be the king? So in so many ways, he tried to plunder the kingdom. He was envious, very envious. And they tried to avoid the war in so many ways. And Krishna, he was a messenger to the Kurus about how to avoid this war. So that he went to Duryodhana and said, Duryodhana, the Pandavas, they're warriors. They're kshatriyas. They got to manage them. Just give them 5 villages. You have the whole kingdom. Just have the whole kingdom. Just give them 5 villages so they can manage. Kshatriyas. And Duryodhana said, I will not give the amount of land that the end of a needle will go on. He was a little envious. Just a little envious. So then Krishna understood, all right, war. So this is envy. And because of his envy, he lost his life. So people are in this world. This Prabhupada tells of another example of 2 men who were envious of each other. And one friend, another person, said to one of these 2 that, that person who you were so envious of, that you hated so much, he's a high court judge now. He said, no. Yeah, I saw it myself, my own. He's a high court judge. Oh, yeah, well, it's probably not paying him anything. So this is envy. Even though someone is in a position, they're just thinking, nah, he can't. He's not getting what we think he may be getting. So this is envy. And then illusion. This is another plunder, one of the enemies of the soul. So if you don't have illusion, if you have illusion, then reality is taken away. You don't have reality. Prabhupada gives the example of the rope and the snake. You go to grab a rope. You think it's a snake. There's fear there, but there's no rope. Or what is the example that there's a snake there. You think it's a rope, and you go to grab it. It's dangerous. You can get bitten. So he's in this illusion. And the biggest illusion throughout the world, the pandemic, the greatest illusion is people are thinking that we're this body. The grand illusion. And we're the only ones that say we're not the body. There's no religion that says that, isn't it? Is there any religion that says we're not the body or the soul? Resurrection? The Christians say that they're resurrected. The body will go to heaven. But they don't say that we're not this body. They don't say that we're the soul within. They're in another illusion. They think that this body is going to be resurrected. They're going to go to heaven in the same body. But they would be very surprised if they opened up some of these coffins that have been buried. All the old bones are still there. So this is the main illusion, that people think that we're this body. We're the enjoyers, we're the proprietors. Now Krishna is his body. In the spiritual world, they have spiritual bodies. And they are their body. Those are spiritual bodies. They don't have bones and blood and all these different organs in the body. No, they don't have those. Spiritual body. And if we take very seriously this Krishna consciousness in this lifetime, we can also get this spiritual body. Live a natural life. This is unnatural to live in these material bodies. And then the last one is madness. And what do we lose when one is mad? One loses sanity. People going around, running around in circles, not knowing where they're going. Like very common when we're distributing books. People say, no, I'm set. I'm set. But they don't know where they're set to go. This is what they don't know. This is their madness. They're set, but they don't know where they're going. They don't know that due to their sinful activities, they're set to go to hell. So we're trying to change their destiny, get them going the right direction, get them set to go the right direction. Now they're going the completely wrong direction, and therefore they're going to suffer so much. Fortunately, they get another chance, a second chance, sometimes a third chance, a fourth chance to get their life together. So we're giving them that opportunity to get another chance. So here in this purport, it's mentioned that everyone works very hard to acquire money, but this doesn't bring happiness. All over the world, people are thinking that if I have a lot of money, I'll be happy. Big house, big bank account, big car. But not long ago, Bill Gates divorced his wife. And also Jeff Bezos also recently got divorced. I don't know what it's like, but must be a terrible experience. You know, here they are, multi-billionaires, but they're getting divorced, going through this terrible experience. Both of them have children, and it must be painful for the children as well. So, yeah, money doesn't bring happiness, and people do so many crazy things for money. Here in San Diego, people break into people's homes. Thieves, they break into people's homes, and they can be killed. It happens all the time. Thieves get caught, and they get killed, and there's no, and the person killing the thief, there's no problem there. There's nothing is illegal there, right? It's legal. Yeah, someone breaks into your house, kill them, no problem. So, yeah, people just do crazy, crazy things for money. Risk their life. People go to war. There's no draft in America now, but people join the military and they go to war. They don't have to, but for money. It's good money. I was speaking to one soldier in the airport. He said, I said, well, what are you going to war for? You don't have to. I said, it's good money. They pay you good money. But they can be killed. There's so many were killed in wars, but for money. And money is the honey, so they'll do anything for money. And people go to college, 10 years of college, to be a doctor for money. Yeah, well, a specialty doctor. You want to be a neurosurgeon or something. You take more school. So much studying, painful, for money. Of course, some of them actually want to help people, but mostly it's business, money, good money. So here also it's mentioned in the last, I think it's the last sentence here. Being thus absorbed in a distressed condition, one never attains happiness. So they're absorbed in this distressed condition. But we want to be absorbed in Krishna. There's the 4 A's. First, we got to be attracted to Krishna. That's why we distribute books. That's why we have Harinam. We want people to become attracted to Krishna. So attraction, then one becomes attached, then one becomes absorbed, then one becomes addicted to Krishna. But the first is that we have to become attracted. So we have to pray for this attraction to Krishna. And it's interesting, Lord Chaitanya was speaking, I think it's Sanatana Goswami, that there's two reasons why Krishna doesn't easily give love for himself. One, we have to actually be attached to Krishna. Now we're attached to so many things. We're attached to this body and things related to this body, family members and things, cars and, computers and this and that. We're attached to so many things that we have to pray to Krishna to be attached to Krishna. Addicted, absorbed in Krishna. And the other reason, he said, because Krishna simply doesn't give it easily. If we get something easily, then we give it up easily. But if we give it all we've got to attain something, we'll never give it up. And that's what it takes. We have to give it all we've got to attain Krishna. And he'll give himself. He wants to give himself. He wants to give himself. But we have to want to serve Krishna as well. And Krishna will help us. So maybe I'll say a few Sankirtan pastimes. Recently, I was distributing books at the park. And the first person that came to the table, she said, I'll give you a donation. I don't want the book. I want you to pay the book forward. You heard of this pay it forward? I was on the plane one time and I saw this movie. Some devotee had seen it and said, you got to see this movie. So pay it forward. It's random acts of kindness, just doing random acts. Prabhupada is the personification of paying it forward. Because he gave Krishna like anything. The epitome of random acts of kindness is Prabhupada, who came here and gave us Krishna. So she said, I'm going to give you $20. And I don't want the book. Give it to somebody that doesn't have any money. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. It's so nice. It's amazing. She just wanted to do something. Didn't know who she's doing it for. It's amazing. Huh? So one person, didn't have any money, and so I gave him that Bhagavad Gita. But I did give her at least take a small one. I gave her a paperback Science of Self-Realization. She said, okay, I'll take that. So there's some people out there that are really nice. And this movement, this movie created a movement. There's a whole movement around the world, pay it forward movement. Just people going around and doing random acts of kindness. Well, actually, we're part of that movement also. Although not officially. There's an official website, Pay It Forward movement. We're not officially part of that, but we're going out and we're giving the best thing that a person could receive, which is Krishna. So we're part of that movement, Pay It Forward movement, giving Krishna. I was distributing books one time at a university, and these two guys came to the table, and one of them said about his friend, my friend here, he'd be a great Hare Krishna. And they were joking. I said, no. He's got too many material desires. He wouldn't make it. So I was joking. We were joking back. So then I said, all right, guys, let's get serious here. Let me show you something here. Let me show you some wisdom. When I distribute books at the park, I tell them, this is wisdom art in the park. Little rhyme there. So let me show you something here. Some wisdom here for you. So I showed them the book. And the one that said that my friend, he would be interested, he said, this is kind of interesting. This would be good read. But I don't have any money. So the one that he said would be interested, well, I have money. I'll get it for you. So he gave $20. So I said, well, you get one too. He said, no, I'm an atheist. I wouldn't read it. And I said, well, then give it to somebody else. All right. So as he's walking away, he sees someone coming towards the table. And he said, hey, you want this book? You want this Bhagavad Gita? He said, yeah, all right, thanks a lot. Now, this is an atheist who just bought a book for his friend and this person who was coming towards my table. Yeah, that's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Yeah, an atheist distributing books. Yeah, incredible. So this is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And Lord Chaitanya, when he was in South India, he was doing this tour, and he went to this one person's home, Kurma Brahmana, and he was a wealthy Brahmana, and he became so attached to Lord Chaitanya. He was absorbed in serving Lord Chaitanya. He was attached, and he said, Lord Chaitanya, I just want to go with you. Please, let me just go with you. And he said, no. Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh amara agyaya guru hanatare des. Stay here. Preach Bhagavad Gita, preach Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way you become a spiritual master and you liberate everyone in the land. And he was, wherever he would go, he would tell people this verse. He would tell his, people he would be preaching to who became attracted. You teach this message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So then he accepted. Okay, you have to accept the order of the Lord. So then Lord Chaitanya, he left. There was another person who heard that Lord Chaitanya was at the house of Kurma Brahmana, Vasudeva, the leper. So he went to the house of the Kurma Brahmana. And he said, I heard the Lord is here, Lord Chaitanya. He said, no, he left. He's gone. And Vasudeva was such a great devotee. He was so attached to Lord Chaitanya, immediately he fainted. But Lord Chaitanya, he's omniscient. So what did he do? Immediately he came back. And when he saw the leper, Vasudeva, what did he do? He embraced him. But he tried to get away. Vasudeva tried to get away. No, Lord, don't touch me. I'm contaminated. I got this leprosy. But Lord Chaitanya grabbed him and he embraced him. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what happened? All the leprosy disappeared. And he became a beautiful, beautiful devotee. Yeah, this is the mercy. Yes, David.
One point about this Vasudeva.
Yeah.
He was so merciful that there were who were in swords, So something fall on the ground, he pick it up and put it back into his sword, so they pick it up.
He didn't want the insect to feel any distress, so he put the insect back onto the sores on his leprosy. Just inconceivable compassion. Inconceivable. And this is why Lord Chaitanya became attached to him, because he was so compassionate. He got the mercy. Oh, the other Vasudeva, there's another one, Vasudeva, who desired that all the sins come upon him so that everybody can be liberated and go back to Godhead. And Lord Chaitanya, he's God. He knew this person is serious. So Lord Chaitanya, when he heard that, he cried. He cried. He brought so much pleasure, so much happiness to Lord Chaitanya that he cried and joy just to see the devotion of Vasudeva. So on that note, is there any question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, we have a question in YouTube from Ujjeshwari Mataji.
Okay.
She said that she loves to do the service in the temple and she's more attached to Srila Prabhupada than Krishna. So is it okay to be more attached to Srila Prabhupada than Krishna?
In Mexico City, a guest who was practicing Krishna consciousness, she said, if I think of you at the time of death, is that as good as thinking of Krishna? And Prabhupada said, yes. Yes. So if you become attached to Prabhupada, that's okay. Even if you're more attached to Prabhupada than to Krishna, that's okay. Because you're getting mercy. Just be attached to Prabhupada. That's special mercy. And because you have that special mercy, eventually you'll become attached to Krishna as well. And Javita has something to say on this.
If you're really attached to Prabhupada, then you want to please him. And what does he want most of all? You chant Hare Krishna and become a serious devotee. So one leads to the other.
Yeah, and also, Prabhupada, he gave us so many books. And he said that if you want to please me, distribute books and also read the books. If you read the books, you'll be happy. No, if you read the books, you'll stay a devotee, and if you distribute books, you'll be happy. So Prabhupada has given us so many books, and they're all about Krishna. So we want to please Prabhupada by reading his books, and by reading his books, you become attracted to Krishna, because Krishna is the most attractive. Okay? Anything else? Dimitri.
I just have a comment.
Okay.
One thing that attracted me about American culture is the pay it forward movement. I remember once it happened to me. When I was not a devotee, I was in a line to get some coffee one time, and we were driving. And when we pull up to the window, the lady just says, "Somebody paid for your coffee already. Would you like to pay for another person behind you?" So
you did that?
And we did. A random
just
act of
you got a
kindness.
line going, people paying for somebody else's coffee.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Never happened in Russia, huh?
No.
Oh, the last person gets it for free because there's nobody behind him.
I also have a question. In the text, it was mentioning the plunders, about the powerful plunders. And maybe I didn't catch, but what are the exact six plunders?
Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, and madness.
Okay.
Yeah. So by practicing Krishna consciousness, we get just the opposite. And we go to the spiritual world where these plunders don't exist. Yeah. They only exist in the material world. So we should take this very seriously and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Very nice class, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.